I grew up seeing a lot of women being taken advantage of because they didn't have financial independence. And when someone else is in charge of your money, I feel like that is still the same thing, because if they pay in your salary to that account, that means he knows everything. He knows your savings. He's in charge of it. Like, basically, you know what it means for someone to be telling a grown adult how you are going to spend money that you worked for?
Never agreed with that marriage is forever. But that's what the Bible says.
I never agree. See, I'm a Christian. I believe that marriage should be. It's a conditional should be forever. Where the guy took all the money in the joint account and disappeared.
No, that can happen. That's normal. That's why we're saying that's normal. That's the normal scenario where anybody can withdraw and disappear. But what's abnormal is only I can withdraw. My husband cannot withdraw. Only my husband can withdraw. I cannot.
So that either or, I think, is dangerous.
Okay. Oh, you think that?
People all don't trust. But with all this, hey, you people and these trusts, do they bottle trusts? Is there a thermometer that we can use to touch the person on a daily basis and say, I measure the trust is still there? Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond30 podcast. Today we're going to be talking about money, merging, and mind games in marriage. Basically, should you have joint accounts? And I have my friends here with me. I think we should introduce ourselves again.
Yeah, let's reintroduce ourselves to you guys. Let's say who's gonna go first.
Let me introduce my name is Temi,
The tech guru with the mic. How do you say that?
You're techie with the mic.
Techie with the mic, exactly. And my name is Dr. U.
And I'm Kome. Now, if you've been watching our episodes and you haven't yet subscribed, please do us a favor. Just hit that subscribe button. It takes like a second, like, bang. All right. Okay, ladies, what do you think about joint accounts? Is it a yes, no, or maybe for you?
I think it's a yes.
Okay.
How do you organize your family spending without a joint account?
Many ways.
I cannot imagine not having a joint account in a marriage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
cannot imagine it because it's going to be so disorganized, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, I see your point.
It just makes it more organized to expend money, inflow, outflow. Yes.
Okay. So for you, it's definitely 100% you should have a joint account.
Yeah.
Should you have a joint account for everything or for specific things?
No. So here's the way I think about it. What joint account is two people are going to be in the account. Two people have signatures to the accounts. They can both withdraw money from the account. So if there's any expenses that needs to come out of the accounts that's related to the family, it should come from the joint account.
Okay, if it's not always as with the family and it's related,
if it's like me buying my things, no, not from the joint account. That's my stuff. I buy it from my personal account.
Okay, so now there are two accounts.
Oh yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
Oh no. So when I say joint account, doesn't mean that I take all my salary and I put it inside the joint account. I was just no, well, no. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm saying that anything that has to do with the family and the union needs to be done using the joint account.
Okay.
So groceries, well, that can shift, depending on what, because there's point system and all that stuff. So that's a whole different. That's my own style. But especially when it comes to like kids' school fees, joint account.
Okay.
Mortgage payments, joint accounts. Like those kinds of, especially those big expenses that makes up.
Should be from the
should be from your joint account.
All right, Femi, I'm curious to hear your opinion.
Yeah, joint account is a necessity. I'm with Timmy on it. The only part I wasn't clear on her part was, okay, how does money get into the joint accounts? There's joint accounts where for some couples, everybody's salary is a joint account.
Yeah, dangerous.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Probably not recommended, except you absolutely chose that person. You're right, sure.
It's not. But
You guys, can I draw your? I wish that they can put screen plays of previous episodes. She was like, if this is the person you're spending your life with, this is
What are you talking about, me or?
only for us to get to the money topic now. Temi is now like, what kind of trust is that? No. So
No. So there's trusts and there's trusts.
wow.
Yes.
So there's financial trust and regular trust.
Yeah. Preach. No, I think here's where and I don't want to tie it to like you trusting your partner in terms of like relationship, but it's just more like you don't want to be like you work for your money. You want to be in charge of it. Right? You want to be and when I say you want to be in charge of it, you want to be able to do things from your money that you make without necessarily always asking your spouse for.
No. If it's in joint account, you don't necessarily have to ask me.
No, so I don't ask, but they see.
Yeah, of course. Yes, they see.
And if there is a spouse that, they do go and do digging, then they will not be like, oh, then they start questioning, oh, why did you spend $400 on this? Why did you spend $300 on like, no, I don't like that kind.
Yeah.
Right? I want to trust you to be able to spend your money the way you want to spend your money. My money the way I want to spend my money. When we need to do things together, we have an organized way of doing it where each person knows what they're responsible for and what they're in charge of, and they make sure that the joint account is funded to get those things done.
Okay.
So what I
me.
see here is, from what we've said so far, joint account is recommended. However, the source of funds in the joint account should come from two separate individual accounts.
Yes.
Not that somebody's salary account should be
going in the joint
people's salary accounts is dropping. Yeah. So apart from having joint accounts, you should have your own separate account where you can do your own personal stuff, and then house stuff comes from the joint account. Okay. So now, what or who determines the percentage of funds going in from each person in the joint account?
That's now a discussion between you and your spouse at that point, right? Because it depends on how much each person is earning. Like if the woman is earning more, I mean, you're in a partnership, except of course, before you got married, the agreement is to always be 70-30 or a certain amount. I don't know, whatever it is. But I think that when you're in a partnership, what should matter is that we're all well taken care of in the marriage or in the family. And who makes more money can, for a maybe period, while the other person's working on making more money. So if it's the woman, for example, if I make a lot of money and I feel like I'm comfortable sharing that part of my money, I would donate what I need to put. It's like donation, I guess. I'll put what the family needs, right? I'll put it in. If my husband's making a lot more money, which is usually supposed to be the ideal in my own mind, in my own opinion, because I feel like when you put so much stress on the woman making so much money, it just takes away from her, I don't know, my mindset just shifts a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the man is the one making the more money, then of course he's the one in charge of.
So are you recommending a certain percentage of each person's income? So for example, maybe we are going 30%. So 30% of your income, 30% of my income. Obviously, if I'm any higher, my 30% will be higher than yours. Is that what?
Yeah, or
no,
it doesn't even have to be. Yes. So the way we do it is like certain people are in charge of certain things. One person is in charge of school fees, another person in charge of the mortgage. If there are two mortgages, the person is in charge of two. Like, you know what I mean? When it comes to like kids' activities and this and that, one person knows that they're always going to be in charge of it. And if, I would just make sure money is in there for that purpose, right? Because usually, especially here, like those monies come out at a certain time of the month. So if the money is not there when it's supposed to be there, then of course that's a red, right? So, yeah.
So you guys know my favorite topic is emergency funds, right? So who is in charge of saving for the family's emergency fund?
Oh, I thought you said women have to have their own by the side.
You can see I already from, emergency fund, like for the family.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's not something that I'm very good at actually either. But I think that needs to be separate from the joint account, in my opinion.
Okay.
It can still be another joint
So would it
account.
be
Who's responsible
to fund that account and make sure that it's actually there in case there was a need?
that one? There can be a percentage. that comes from each person's salary based on like whatever is left, right? So you know when you get your pay at the end of the month, you you settle all your bills, and then whatever is left, you now put. And I feel like it shouldn't even all well. I'm not the most organized in that way, so I'm always like a big fan of like it doesn't have to be a set amount. You can make it a set amount if you want, but like for different months needs change sometimes. Like something comes up and able to make it. So if you put that pressure on yourself, then you're just like so stressed, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We've heard how Temi thinks about it. Femi, I want to hear your own like take. Joint account, but then also emergency fund or savings. How does that work with you?
So joint accounts, yes, is recommended. Emergency funds, family emergency funds. I've always been a proponent of having. The only one that is quite new is the personal COVID type of emergency fund. But then again, you know, depending on the dynamics of your marriage, there's nothing bad in having that one. No. There's nothing bad in having that one. The only part is the fact that it's going to be hidden. I feel kind of guilty, like I'm keeping a secret, like I need to specify now how do I start explaining myself. So that's the only part. But if it's the personal emergency fund, that person knows I have personal emergency fund, then maybe I don't feel so bad. But yeah, I feel like every family should always have emergency funds that we're never touching.
Yeah.
Unless in the case of emergency, and we have a well-defined meaning of what emergency is.
Emergency cannot be that we've not gone on a holiday this year.
CIQ, that's not an emergency. That's not an emergency. Oh, we need to buy PlayStation or something random. You. Emergency is like health crisis or for whatever reason, we don't have mortgage payments for that time or school fees and we need to dip. And emergency fund, what's recommended is when you use it, try and replace it almost immediately where possible. So it's always there as a backup. So I agree with family emergency funds. Personal emergency funds, case by case basis.
Yes.
Yeah.
It depends.
Evaluate your situation and see if you need it.
You know, it's interesting that both of you are very pro joint accounts. I've never been pro joint accounts.
Really? Why?
I don't know.
Even the type that we mentioned, you know that there's joint accounts of my salary is good and there's joint account of you still have.
So first of all, when I was getting married, you know, at church they'll give you that marriage counseling where they're like, your money is your money. Everybody put your money together. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, thank you. Pastor, if you watch the sun, right? In my mind, I'm always thinking like, no, actually, I don't want to put my money together with him. I love him. I trust him. But I just felt like that felt like slavery to me.
It's not all your money, like from scratch, just some.
Hold on. So the one they preach at church is the one, oh, right, everybody pay their salary into the accounts. And then some people even have the shameless audacity to say the man will now be in charge of allocating. God forbid. That is like, so for me, that was the idea of joint account that I had when I was going to marriage. And I was like, heck no, that's not happening. So we opened, because of all the talk, everybody should have a joint. We opened a joint account, but 1 penny from my money never went into that account.
So what was that inside?
The person that is.
Wow.
So, to be fair to my husband, he has always been very transparent with his finances with me. And over the years, it has warmed me up. I've relaxed a lot when it comes to finances. But so when that whole thing happened, he used to have his whole salary paid into the joint accounts. But the thing is, I never took money from there, but I also never put my money in there. Because for me, I felt like, and I want to give context, right? Because in case someone is watching this and thinking that, oh, you know, I grew up seeing a lot of women being taken advantage of because they didn't have financial independence. And when someone else is in charge of your money, I feel like that is still the same thing. Because if they pay in your salary to that account, that means he knows everything. He knows your savings. He's in charge of it. Like basically, you know what it means for someone to be telling grown adults how you are going to spend money that you worked for. So that was where now the one you're talking about, I think we're now being set in our ways for so long where we know who is taking care of what. It goes out of the accounts. And we have joint accounts, but I cannot tell you that we deposit everybody just knows what everybody's doing and we just take care of it. The only time we use our joint account is when we want to do an investment or there's something specific we're working towards, then it's now a case of, okay, say we want to buy a table and it's going to take two of us coming together. Okay, every month we're now depositing money in that account towards that. But we always know what that fund is going towards. Right. So it's not like everyday expenditures, like specific things.
I think like joint account, like when I was describing it, like it doesn't have to follow, like it doesn't have to be like so rigid. I think the idea for me is the way we grew, like we using joint accounts in the beginning, it wasn't always immediately like all the monies was coming out there. We weren't that organized with it. It's just, I think as we progressed in the marriage and as we progressed in like more responsibilities, more financial responsibility, it just became a lot more organized to have it, especially those big expenses come from that joint account. Reason being that sometimes, like you want to do certain things, you want your spouse to be able to know that, okay, this is exactly how much came out or something, like, because then they don't have access to your own account to know exactly how much like some of those things cost. So like if the money is coming from your joint account, it's just like you just look at joint account and just like, okay, I know what this is, I know what this is, I know what this is, I know what this is. Now things like groceries, we don't even bother with joint account for those because like I have my system for my groceries and I want to get my points.
It was a system.
No, yeah, because I get my points. Right? So with the points, well, what I mean, so here you get points. There's certain stores you go to, you get points for how much you spend. And I like using my credit card to get the points because you can't get the points on your debit card. So I'll take cash and put it in.
Yeah.
Right? So I can use the credit. That's the only reason why that doesn't come from joint account. But big money spending, right? And when I'm saying big money, maybe anything from like 500 and up comes from joint account.
Comes from joint. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I think, see, what we're trying to say is every couple is going to have a different look and style of what works for them.
Yeah.
Before we go into Kokija, Femi said something about she's going to feel guilty about building an emergency fund that her partner doesn't know about. Femi, why guilty?
Because the whole purpose of that emergency fund is for you. So that means that I will have an emergency that concerns only me. That means that I'm preparing backup to leave you or something. Yeah. So it just feels, that is just how it feels. So when the person should now find out, so what's this fund for? Because we have one family match. So what's this one for? And I'm like, in case it develops going. Like, how does... So yeah, I'll feel guilty. That's where I will feel guilty.
How about you?
But if the guy has justified, like he has shown obvious signs and everything, then I won't feel guilty about it. I will actively, But where the guy has been good, everything's going fine, I'll feel bad. Like, guy, I'm like, so you're already planning exit, and it's kind of so like, that's why.
Okay, how about you?
It's the same. Like, it's very, it's the same. Like, unless you give me a reason to not trust you with my money, I will feel the need to like build up an emergency fund, like for myself.
Trusted.
Yeah.
So I think I've said this in previous episodes where I always have a personal emergency fund. I tell my husband if he asks, I'm happy to tell him that I have an emergency fund, but I don't share how much is in it.
That's the part, because I know that it's nobody's business, all my own. But he's gonna want to know.
Interestingly, and God bless me, God knows who I need. He doesn't ask me what's in your emergency funds, because that emergency funds is for my own secret, very separate. So here, I don't think my husband has ever asked me how much is in my emergency fund. The only thing he would just say is like, if I ever complain that, I don't have money, I'm broke.
It's a good thing.
We'll be like,
he'll just say that. But then, like, it's just not direct about it. I mean, like, he wants to know. I'm sure he wants to know. I'm sure he's curious. I'm just curious. It's like, how much? When there's the mystery behind the certainty, you want to know. It will spark your curiosity. Like, okay, how much is really in this? Or if it's like millions of dollars.
Has not informed me of his curiosity. So we just go about. But the thing is, from me, I'm not doing it one side. I just think it's good financial sense to do it. And I also encourage him to do the same thing. Not because you are trying to leave the person. That's not the essence of having an emergency fund. It's just that sometimes, when we're saving money together, right, we're trying to be equal. right?
So wait, I think I know what you're saying with this emergency. So you're saying that this emergency fund is like basically your own personal savings
Yes.
in a marriage. I mean, I
That's not bad now.
that's not bad.
Yeah.
If we put it that way, on then it's not bad. You don't have savings though. Like that is
Does he know how much is in your savings?
necessarily like
But that kind of thing, if you should ask him, well, I'm happy to tell him because I know like the money is for, you understand?
So there are two levels of savings, right? There is the first level, which is emergency, something has broken, world is ending, kind of money. So that one, I don't share how much is in it because I just feel like I just keep putting money there because I don't know what the emergency will be. And I encourage my husband to do the same thing. Because when we're putting money together,
So in case of next of kin issues, God forbid, maybe something happens, there's an accident and they need the emergency funds. Who now has access to that money?
so it's not like they can't access it if they need to access it. But hopefully that day doesn't come. Do you get?
So if he needs to access, doesn't know how to access it.
Does
so
he
that-
know how to access it? That's a good question. I think if it was a case of next of kin, then he will be able
Okay,
to
I mean,
access
you have to
it.
go to the bank.
Yes.
Okay.
He'll be able to access it.
But on his own in the house,
On the one is that he's just bored and he just needs to I don't know.
baby, he will like my factor authentication.
At this rate, you need retina scan. My point is there are two levels of savings. So that emergency fund is something breaks. And then there is savings of, I'm not really saving for anything specific. I just have extra money that I put in there. To be fair, if you're trying to be financially sensible, that savings that you're just putting there should not be there. Like you should be investing that money.
Yeah.
In sensible things. So for me, those investments, I'll tell my husband, I was like, oh, I bought so and so stock. It's doing well. That. I don't tell you how much, but you know that I'm doing that. So that in case anything happens, you know where to look, right? Okay. What's my point? I was going somewhere with this. That everybody should have an emergency fund. That's the point. And that emergency fund should be able to cover at least 6 months of the money you need. Now, the problem is when you're saving as a family, as a couple. Remember what you said about percentage? Maybe we're trying to be as equal as possible. So we can only afford a certain amount. Let's say we can only afford to put 300 each in that joint emergency. That might not be enough. So what I do is that whatever excess I have, I put in my own personal fund. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be the one with 90% of the money in our family emergency fund. But I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
No, it does. So okay, so do we subscribe to telling the spouse your salary?
Because it's true. When you're
It's like-
about how the money comes into the joint account, you have to do some.
Fine, the money is not going in the joint account, but can they know how much you actually earned?
I've always told about salary. I may not tell about expenses.
Okay.
Why were your spouses asking for your expenses in the first
So the
place?
salary, at least they
Is
they
it
have a gauge of how much you're.
They have an idea, yes.
They can tell that okay,
Yeah.
this person is earning more than me.
Trying to hide it.
Oh, okay, then that's fine.
That's okay.
I'm also trying to hide it.
Yes, I mean I got not trust you. Don't be right.
What's that? There's so many kids. They're the
So me, I feel like, and you said something about case by case basis. I think like everything should be definitely a case by case basis. Unless somebody gives you a reason not to trust them financially, I don't see why you should hide certain gains from them, right? Now, it doesn't mean you should not be smart about the access that people have to your finances. You just need to be upfront and open. So at least, it feels kind of mutual. The person too should do the same to you. So that's where I'm coming from. But if you now have a spouse that's not financially sensible, I don't even think telling the person how much you earn is a good idea.
Everybody's idea of putting money together in an account is not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
And you know what?
Because they can misappropriate funds.
So you know what?
Yes.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. For you to marry someone who is not financially sensible to the point that you can't tell him how much you earn, why are you married to that person in the first place?
Well, that's another conversation. Like,
Sure.
Found themselves in that situation right now. So we're speaking to those people right now already that don't follow what we said initially.
I am a very big believer in trust. I will tell you even those people that are married to people that they cannot necessarily trust financially, at least tell him your income. But then the sense I will then use is that income will be spoken for till the last cent. You don't know those people. They'll be like, they're doing Ajo Ibadan, Ajo Ojo, Ajo. Like that money, you will not be able to see the
So
money.
it depends on dynamics of your relationship. Do you remember that which this popular blogger CM or whatever that said a house girl, every time she used to pay a house girl salary, house girl has to give the husband part of the salary.
What the what?
So the moment now she would pay the house girl will be giving the husband the salary. So after a while, she used to wonder that was it her or Ife? So she used to wonder that why am I paying why are you giving all your salary to this man? The house girl will say, oh, he's my husband and everything. So after a while, the house girl receives sense. Now start keeping her salary to herself. So the man now waited for a few months, no salary. The house girl had been telling the husband that they have not paid that salary for so and so months. So is it fair, Abi? The man that came to come and meet the madam that what's going on? You have not been paying my wife or something like that, you know? And then that was when the madam now realized that the house girl has received sense. So the madam now paid her along, guys, like, sorry, you know, things are hard and blah blah blah. And then she now increased the house girl salary, saying that the woman has received sense. So some people, when you depend on the kind of marriage you have, when you let your husband know that this is how much I'm earning, they want to sit on.
Almost, you guys, I cannot relate.
But I mean,
It cannot relate. And for me, I don't know, maybe it's my mentality of marriage is not by force.
some people, okay, let's think about this way. If we are going for like marriage is forever, like I'm not be saying indeed that marriage is forever. But that's what the Bible says.
I never see, I'm a Christian. I believe that marriage should be. It's a conditional should be forever. But if it is not working for you,
but what will make it so here's I'm not also like a big fan of like somebody should stay there even if they're about to die. There are certain things that will make me say, okay, I think that you should definitely separate from this person because this person is definitely toxic, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to certain things that can be discussed, that can be fixed, that you can go to counseling for, I don't believe in the flight. Yes, I believe in the fight part of it. That's when you work together. Yes, that's because that's what a marriage is.
same is so sweet.
Because if you run away, like life is so complicated, marriage is so complicated, and people are complicated.
Okay.
So it's not as straightforward as, I'm just like, I just see that it's not financially sensible.
Yeah, it's not what I'm saying. But in a situation where the husband is taking her income every single month and she doesn't even have the balls to tell him, I'm not giving you again.
Be wise about
How is that a healthy relationship?
See, it's not as easy as just leaving. That's in traditional marriages. Yes, kids are involved. They might love each other. They might have two different backgrounds.
Excuse me, my own Bible said love is patient.
No.
Love is kind.
Do you know that part of the reasons why we think the way we think is because we are exposed in the way because of the exposure in our minds. Yeah.
My father and my mother did not have that kind of
Exposed. This traditional marriage they exposed you. You understand what it is.
Yeah.
The woman was doing. I don't think the husband either was like I don't know. Nobody knows exactly what it is, but you know, a lot of people leave traditional marriages.
That is not traditional.
No, that's
If it is a traditional, if it is a traditional marriage, he should be bringing all the money.
He brings all money, but in the event the woman decides to work, all the money goes to the husband, and he decides how he spend. That is the tradition.
Tradition, my new colors on this episode. Please, can we please do cookie jar questions? Because
I don't believe in it, but it is a lot of people's reality. Okay, so with all these people now say, okay, I'm done. Like now, my eyes are open.
do you know what? I feel like this situation you just explained, it's only a matter of time before they are done. She has just delayed the inevitable from happening. Because there's no time he's not going to realize that she has been collecting her income. She has been keeping it away from him.
Yeah.
One day he's going to discover, and that day the heavens will nearly fall. Because, so all these months, you were lying to me. Now it's no longer a situation of she was keeping the money. It's now a case that he can't trust her. because she was lying for so long.
So then they can work it out.
They
now.
cannot work that kind of thing
I
out.
think that's the end of the marriage.
She did not have a marriage to begin with.
Voila. But you know, they're not all men. So there are a lot. Who am I fighting for for the traditional rights? So there's some men. Now hear me out. There's some men. They're not exposed. They're used to what they're used to, right? Upbringing led to it. They've seen it work that way for a lot of their people around them, their moms, their aunties, blah 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 blah. A lot of the reality of a lot of people. Do you know how many people's marriages? That's the end of the marriage in all of Nigeria. Yeah. No, but that's the truth. Like the one percentage of people are living like that. Anyway,
Okay, a good percentage of people might be living like that. Does not make it right.
oh, of course, we're
Does
not
not make
saying
it
it
right.
like that. What do you advise them to?
Telling you, read my lips. If you are in that kind of situation where your husband collects all your money, you've tried to talk to him and it's not working. You don't have to decide, do you like being a slave? Because you are a slave. If you don't know, let me tell you.
So some people don't want to leave their marriage because of kids. So that's why that woman did what she did. Instead of leaving her marriage, she devised another way.
It's not going to work in the long term. It will only work for a very short time.
At least let them try and see how long can. I think it's better than the option of like just disappear.
No, I won't say they should disappear. No, you can try to talk it out.
Counseling.
You can try all those nonsense counseling. Does not used to work. Let me tell you why it does not work. Because usually people that are in that situation, like I told you what they told us at church, right? Where they say, oh, you should give the money, you should put the money together. I remember then I even asked the question, I was like, what if I'm not comfortable with that? And the answer they gave me is, why won't you be comfortable? That's a bullshit answer as far as I'm concerned.
Nigerian,
right? Do you get it?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that's a situation a lot of people, that is kind of situation a lot of people have. Yeah, the pastors at church will be like, he's the head of the home. I told you that there was a very close relative that also gave us that advice that, oh, when I collect my salary, I should give it to my husband to apportion. If I could have if my head could have exploded that day, fire would have been coming out like this. But my point is, people who are in that situation, when they start to have those kind of conversations and say they're going to talk about counseling, they usually end up in those very traditional places where they still give them the same advice of, if it has been, he's the my head of the, can I even stop talking? I don't want.
Yeah. I think anyways, let's do the cookie jar because I think we're not going to finish this if we'll be on it for a while. If we keep going, I think I was just more focused on like if people are actually in that situation. I don't believe in like the living. I think they need to more. They need to be wiser with the way they use their money. So emergency fund definitely. If you didn't have it before, then start doing it. If you can build a house, build your own house. House.
Why will she have an emergency fund if, for example, the man collects everything?
No, now that she's out now, yeah, she's white for it will work. If she wants it to work, do you know how many of the generation before, like our parents' generation, that's the way they did it now, and they're still trying. They love them.
I think let me put it like this. It won't work unless she's ready to walk away entirely. If everything she's trying is not working. See, there's some battles that you don't go into unless you are prepared for the worst.
I mean, she might not literally think it's to be the worst, but I don't know. Whatever.
You've not heard where we say, add that syrup.
Oh, good. This is it.
I have
a question. Read.
Would you merge finances if your partner is a spender and you are a saver?
I laugh in Spanish. Kind of spender. I laugh in Spanish. The moment he said he's a spender.
Yeah, would you merge finances? To an extent, just so that we can actually have dialogues that might move the relationship forward. If someone is a spender, they can be reformed. It can be true, yes. They can be reformed. Also, but it just comes with commitment.
Yeah.
And if he's willing.
Okay.
But if he's not willing and I can see he's not willing,
Yeah.
somebody did not steal my brain.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see. Who should control the joint accounts? Both partners equally or one person managing? It's joints now. It's both. Like there's no. That's why it's joint account.
How about those situations where only one person can draw from the joints?
Are they joint?
I've not seen that type.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember in the UK, you have to actually request it that both parties should be signatories.
That's tricky. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what
do
the
you
other
mean?
person now do with
So usually what it is that either or anybody can walk into the bank and draw the money inside, right? Unless you now make it a stipulation that both parties must sign.
no kidding. That one is normal now. That one is normal.
That's okay. That's
I
different.
thought you meant like only one of the couples. I mean, one member of the couple can withdraw money and the other person can't.
Didn't it happen in what show? Aresa's show.
Okay, smart money woman.
Yes, didn't it happen? Like where the guy took all the money in the joint account and disappeared.
No, that can happen. That's normal. That's why we're saying that's normal. That's the normal scenario where anybody can withdraw and disappear. But what's abnormal is only I can withdraw. My husband cannot withdraw. Only my husband can withdraw. I cannot.
So that either or I think is dangerous.
Okay. Oh, you think that's so you don't trust?
But with all this, hey, you people and these trusts, do they bottle trusts? Is there a thermometer that we can use to touch the person on a daily basis and say, I know that the trust is still there?
Well, so I think what's tricky with joint accounts is I think it depends on the purpose, right? If it's not for savings, so because as I mentioned that there's joint accounts where we're using to manage our sperm in the house, that one can't have that much
money. Yeah, that one is not risky.
We're talking about the savings one where we're both contributing to. That one should definitely be under lock and key in terms of two people have to agree before money comes out of it. So you have to think about it in that, like, use wisdom. If you're creating joint accounts, you can't have one joint account. You should have two joint accounts. If you're creating one for savings, where one person cannot just go there. That is how heart attack used to happen, my sister. But the emergency funds, family emergency funds, is a bit tricky because if it's an emergency and you are the emergency and they need your signature before they can withdraw money, it defeats the purpose of that account. What if we set a limit? So here's the thing, right? Can set a limit to like how much one person can withdraw, which other bank can do. And I think banks already even have limits how much you can even pull out from your personal without the consent of the other person, or even using an app, national apps and everything. There's a limit to how much you can withdraw per day, cash, move, those kinds of things. If not, it will become flat, right? So those are in, like, be wise with it. We're not saying just blindly, I trust this person. Trust can change, like you say.
There's not thermometer. There's nothing, there's no device for checking trust.
Yeah.
Well, can we even segue what Femi said? Can we even segue that it's not just financial, like it's not just accounts, even investments. There have been situations where some women have been left out in the cold because they did an investment with their husband and they never checked that their names were actually on it.
Like buying properties and stuff like that. Do you think that we should be like, if how in certain countries, like, you can individually buy a property and your spouse, like, you're doing it because it's just like maybe your financial advisor says, it's better like if both of you are not on the account, because then, when you're both on one mortgage, then your name's going to be showing, it's going to affect both your credit. So one person does it, the other person does a different one. How is that? Like, is it advisable? Me, I don't believe in it.
No, I don't. So that's how I want to know that you can looking.
The only time I'll be like, okay, it's okay for you to like have something like that. Like if your financial advisor says, okay, you must individually buy, then we must be buying the houses at the same time.
No, wait. Can we even go back? The money you are using to buy the houses, the money belongs to two of us that you are using to buy that independence investment. If yes, it cannot happen. It's not possible that I will give you money. Then you now say, oh, who is the financial advisor? And why is our credit that important? No.
Okay.
It's not.
So that means you, I don't know to like, if we're buying a house, we're buying it either
Either name one or
our names are there 50-50.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes. But also, right, I think there are a lot of ways to invest that doesn't require property. If our advisors say, oh, there's no way to safely invest together, why must we buy a house? Is it a do or die affair?
No. Well, it's most people's dreams, right? To have not your own house rather than you their own house.
So usually when you do this thing is that they will say, because you already have maybe one joint property, then don't buy another joint property because you'll be over leveraged.
Yes.
Yeah, I just feel like there's several ways to invest that it doesn't require property, especially when it starts to look dodgy. Because look, it will not be any of our portions in Jesus' name. But for anybody who is in that situation, and that's what they're advising you guys to do, look, the day of trouble, it does not give an alarm, and he does not send you a letter ahead of time. That's the day he will forget that you contributed to that property. Suddenly, it is his house. I don't know. I feel passionate about this. You people.
I think there are even ways around stuff like that. I think you're buying like another house. I think you should not buy it both in your names or even in individual names. I think you're gonna buy this so pay is reimbursed. Yeah. Okay. So what's more dangerous, hiding money or oversharing finances?
More dangerous.
Kome will probably say oversharing. Me, I'm thinking, hiding. Why I say hiding is one, the guilty party fees for the escape route. Two, if it's really emergency funds and I need it, and I'm now in an emergency and my family needs it, and God forbid I'm unconscious or something and nobody knows how to access it or that it even exists, and for whatever reason that could have been the only funds to help, then it's dangerous. So it depends on how you look at it. If it's emergency funds, someone else should know how to access it.
And I know you don't like this word, Kome, the trust parts.
Not that you don't like the word, but when it comes to finances, I get it, but I feel like if the person hasn't given you a reason to not let them lead in terms of like, what's the word now? In terms of like putting stuff together, not even lead, like you working together as partners. I feel like it's actually dangerous to hide.
But you people, have you not heard me several times say, I am not hiding?
Yeah, I did. That the ambitions.
But do you need the amount for if you can have access in the day of trouble? What do you need?
In the day of trouble, it depends on of kin. Well, yeah, it's only next of kin. Although that next of kin is a kind of long thing. I don't know how long it takes banks to process all those stuff. Pays for emergency.
So usually if you have a will, right, and in your will you've said who and who should. No, this is your lies. So hold on, I'm going somewhere. If you've said your will but there is also a situation where it's also in your will that in this what's it called, in the event that you cannot make decisions for yourself, maybe you're unconscious, maybe you're in a coma, there's also who is in charge. I can't remember what it's called now off the top of my head, but there's also someone who is in charge.
There's someone, it's power of attorney, medical.
So there's a power of attorney if you are unconscious. But why do you need the value of everything so that you push me down the stairs? I'm sorry. I would go take. You guys in hand.
What's that kind of crazy husband there? That's big two, not told me, maybe it's only $2,000 you have. You now imagine that maybe it's $100K. You now push it down the stairs. Only to find out that it's $2K that is inside. We have the money.
That way is crazy. Dopey. But the point, there is a place for power of attorney. So if there's ever a need, and also I think we even need to talk about things like retirement funds. So like I have a pension from the AP. Those kind of things. I tell him regularly because I don't even want him to forget. If God forbid something happens to him or happens to me, it will just go. So he needs to know. So I've told him things like what company is at, how to access it, who do you talk to, and everything. So it's not hiding it. Okay, good. No, it's not. So like that.
Let's be clear. She's not hiding that. There's no. But just have it and be upfront to your spouse. Tell them I have got it.
That's if it's a sensible.
If it's a sensible.
If it's not a sensible spouse, please hide it with your full chest.
And there's someone else that you trust. Maybe it's a
Because the truth is that if you are there, they don't need emergency fund again.
your children will need it.
They don't have a father.
Wait, another one. Oh, you read? Hey, that's all you got.
Would you feel disrespected if your partner said, "I don't believe in joint accounts"?
Ah,
I wouldn't.
I mean, I want to hear what is why option. Let us. No, even depends on the reason behind it.
If he says, "I don't believe in joint accounts," I wouldn't feel any sort of way because I'm that.
That's what I was going to say. That is probably you are that represented.
So I won't feel any way as long as we apportion. Like for me, budgeting is so important. That budgeting that we must sit down and say, okay, who takes care of what? How much is going to what? Like sometimes I'm that person that I know every single cent that leaves my account on a monthly basis. You best know that point, I know it. So for me, that's a big deal. If you're not willing to sit down and talk about finances, it bothers me because I feel like, oh my God, what else are you doing with your life? But yeah.
Okay. To good.
The fact that you people are quiet means that you people are not big on the budgeting like me.
Oh no, but it's what can afford it. But budgeting at home. It's like what's be an eye on our head. What would you do if your partner entered the joint account without discussing sex?
Yeah. What will you do? Find a hired killer? Is there an assassin? Are we looking for an assassin? What?
What will you do if your partner entered the joint account? Oh, they didn't even say you do something empty.
Let's give context. Maybe in that joint account, you guys have been saving because you know some people have been married for so long that maybe you have like $7 million in their account. Not empty detail. Now you now hear that he's in Greece with one side chick.
Wait,
I know, Andrea, but
so I cannot talk about this. I don't have an answer to this other than Comer's emergency fund to come in. But I feel like I'll just faint. So I'll be shocked now.
you wait there to faint, uncle.
What next? And let's keep going.
That's right. Tammy is trying to be very Christian. She doesn't want to say what she's really thinking.
What will I do though? Like,
Yeah, what would you do?
I'm not. Okay.
Me, I've told you stylishly what I do.
What happens when family or friends ask for money from the shared pots? That's from joint accounts. Family or friends ask for money. How do they know what's the shared?
Yeah.
There is a shared.
Yeah, we know like right now, let's even remove the shared part. Right now, people will just message you randomly on WhatsApp and just say, "Oh, please, I'm going through stuff. Can you send money?" What do you do?
So my own policies. I don't give what I cannot forget to anybody.
That's my policy too.
Yeah. If I cannot forget that I gave you this money and I'm not depending on it for I'm not gonna give it. Sorry. This is a policy. So that way I never give myself headache. If the money does not, if you don't, like if you loan it or if you need it for something and whatever it is, I just won't give you what I cannot afford to let go of.
What if they're not asking to borrow it? They want you to just
Say
is this so no, I think what I'm trying to get to is would you go to your husband and say, so and so person asks for money? Like how do you come to deciding what to give?
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, we always have that discussion. But then also like it depends on like the amount. So for example, like we have a set amount where we don't necessarily need to ask each other.
Okay.
But it's like, okay, if somebody asks for this amount of money, I give it, right? Because it's under a certain amount, right? Depending on your family and what you can afford individually. Now, if it now goes beyond that amount, that's when I have a discussion with my spouse and say, look, is this something we can afford? Is this something that you feel like I should be doing? Because now this is more than, because initially, I think when we first got married, like we used to disperse, right? Just do whatever. Because we were all used to the way we were spending our money. And some of us were a lot more like, some of us had more, what do you call it? Dependence. Yes, more responsibilities than others. So, but then we now had to figure out, okay,
Okay, so that we're not having this argument. Oh, why didn't you tell me before? This is the amount. Once this, if the money is under this amount, right?
That makes sense. All right, let me pick a question for you guys.
Yay!
Okay. Should couples split everything 50-50 even if one person earns more? So we want to know what you think in the comments. And we hope that you really enjoyed this episode. If you did, just leave a comment for us. Tell us what you thought. Weigh in on the conversation, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye.